Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. When we pull up in your city. Yeah, 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 yeah. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town. About to bring them all out, call the people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? A sophisticated gentleman, intelligent and tolerant. I'm bothering your politics and breaking down the college tricks. We out of school, so class is out. Fuck all your pedigree, fuck all your clout. Lift everybody and bring them all out. This is the message we preaching about. This is rising tides and we gon' keep it rising. This is our horizon, never modernize it. Fuck your harmonizing and apologetics. Fuck your bishops and the fed clerics. Stop the cursing, it's hereditary. When you're out here reversing the seminaries. And we're pulling our future from cemeteries. Out here clowning around like your shit is buried. Fuck all the bullshit is sedentary. Everything else is just secondary. Hating that shit is not necessary. It's too predatory, too reactionary. No imagination is an adversary. No congratulation gets you past the berry. This is how you stand it, this is how you carry. This is how you lay it in, this is how you carry. Pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town. About to bring them all out, calling people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. Beep, beep, woo. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party, 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 party. Party. Pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to ride the whole town. About to bring them all out, call these people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I hope y'all are doing well. Well, it's Wednesday noon for me. I don't know what it is for you, but it's Wednesday afternoon. For me, it is literally noon. Noon seems to be my prime time. I go live on Sundays at noon and Wednesdays at noon. How are y'all doing today, man? How are y'all feeling out there? How is life treating you? This has been one incredibly busy week for me. Well, let me pull this down because I'm gonna have to throw some stuff up here for a few moments. As you know, I was in Mississippi in Starkville this past Sunday with our Bridge City MSU campus, and so we had one hell of a good time. I actually think that's probably one of the strongest conversations that's come out of the Greater Gospel Sunday session series of conversations. Like, oh my goodness, it was beautiful. Captain is back in for the live. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I was in Mississippi for that, and I'll actually be back in Mississippi tomorrow. So I just got finished recording my video for tomorrow, so y'all will see that then. Hopefully, that one might end up going to Thursday. But anyway, and so I'll be back in Mississippi tomorrow to pick up my son. He's there doing an intern with their physics department, which is really cool. He's working on nuclear physics and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, bro, you're so much smarter than me. I love that. He's a part of the reason I deconverted, though, because I started realizing how brilliant of a mind he had, and I didn't want to be the thing that shrunk him down. You like that song, man? Like it was one of my favorites. I wrote it last week. I wrote it last week. Every now and then I'll get in one of those creative spells and I'll sit down and I'll start writing something. But I like to write. All right, so I do have a little bit of announcements here that I want to hit real quick, and then we're going to jump into today's conversation. If you haven't guessed it yet, today we're talking about grievance culture and how grievance culture can't really build community. So I want to focus on how we can shift from echo chambers into ecosystems. All right, so that's going to be our biggest focus, shifting from echo chambers to ecosystems. But before we get there, let me hit some announcements. Can you believe this Sunday we have been doing, as of this Sunday, we would have been doing Bridge City for 2 years now. This Sunday is Bridge City's 2nd anniversary, and it's also the launch of what we call Rising Season. So if you're not connected with us on the global campus, you're going to want to be there. We're going to have a few events going on during this season. Number one, to celebrate how far Bridge City has made it in these 2 years. Welcome in, Wilson. Is glad to see you. Our brother from Kenya. I love it. Katale. Yes. But get connected on the global campus because we'll have a bunch of different activities going on. I think we have a wake and bake planned because it's rising season, and we're going to rise and reflect. We're going to get up in the morning and we're going to smoke some good, and then we're going to reflect and just talk about how everything is rising. So that's going to be fun. Also, let me put this on the screen so y'all can see it. To kick off this, like this Sunday, I'm having a special guest of panelists, Kyle Butler, Britt Hartley, and Joe Pittinger. This is Bridge City's second anniversary. This is our finale to the Greater Gospel series, and it's just a great time. We're kicking off Rising Season. So if you don't have any plans for Sunday, come hang out with us this Sunday at noon. I'd love to see you there, like in the chat. Also, have y'all heard the news? Y'all seen this? Y'all seen this? I'm in this competition right now. I am in a competition. I don't know how it happened, but I'm in it. And not only am I in it, we're in day 3. And as of now, I'm still number 1 in my group, which means that there is a really strong possibility that I'll be fast forwarded to the next round. So that's kind of awesome. If I win this competition, that gives our community a $25,000 grant, feature in Entrepreneur Magazine. And so I get to spend some time with Damon John of FUBU and Shark Tank. Not sure if y'all know who that is, but So and that's a reminder, if you haven't voted today, what are you waiting on? Go vote. This is big for me, and I put this out there because ever since I stepped out and decided, you know what, I'm going to publicly let people know that I'm an atheist, which for some people, that's not a big deal. It's a big deal for me because, number one, I was a pastor, and that's really what people knew me by, and that's how they wanted to treat me. But then number 2, I'm Black, and so for me, one of my sincere desires ever since starting to produce the content is to normalize or even popularize atheism, secularism, and critical thinking. And this competition allows us to really do that in a very mainstream way. As of now, that is hilarious. As of now, I, as far as it looks like, am the only openly atheist founder that's competing in this competition, which means that we actually have an opportunity to set a record. We have an opportunity to make history here. If I win this, I'll be the first openly atheist founder to win a competition like this with a organization that is, we're building an organization that's absolutely post-religious. That's the best way I can say it, So it's major. This is major. So voting is free. They also have impact votes. If you do impact votes, which you pay for, the money from the proceeds from those votes, they don't go to me. I wish they did, but they don't. They don't go to me. They actually go to this organization called Gen Youth, which is helping with nutrition and exercise in school systems. So check it out. All right, that's all I got on that. 2 more announcements. Bam! For my patrons and my YouTube members, come hang out with your boy. We're going to be doing an exclusive Ask Me Anything. I'm working on it right now with our head of community. And so make sure that if you're a patron or you're a YouTube member, that you are getting your questions to me for this event. All right. And last but not least, we got a movie night coming up, and it centers. Hey, if you're not doing anything on the first Sunday night of April, join us on the global campus of Bridge City for movie night. All right. So I've said everything I needed to say. I can biggie size this screen again, and we can jump into this conversation. I hope y'all got something from those announcements. Bridge City second anniversary is coming up. We have this Sunday's Sunday session panel. Vote for Me, an Entrepreneur of Impact. And then we have our Ask Me Anything coming up with our patrons, our YouTube members, and our financial supporters. And then, of course, from a community perspective, we're having our Sinners, our movie night in April, and it's going to be Sinners this time. If you've signed up to be a part of the discussion crew, don't worry, we're going to be sending you out your information this week or next week. All right, so let's jump into this conversation. Does anybody have a clue where you think I'm going with this, or why I'm going with this? I'll be kind of monitoring the comments for your responses. But today I want to talk about grievance culture, and just hit this. Like, I don't highlight grievance culture. Y'all know this isn't my first time talking about this. This is probably my first time talking about it live. No, we've kind of talked about the difference between cynicism and skepticism, because I'm concerned that sometimes a lot of the stuff I see in the secular community is not skepticism, it's cynicism, and there's a huge difference. Number one, skepticism can be productive, cynicism cannot. I've also done a video before on This Is Getting Toxic, talking about just some things that I've seen from a social perspective, a sociological perspective that I've seen, and I'm like, oh no, that's a red flag for toxicity right there. These are problems, and as I've talked to people, as I've shared with my audience, when I left church, for me, leaving church, leaving Christianity was getting up from the children's table. So I have no intentions joining another children's table under a different label. And so that's what I want to talk about this. It's not just that grievance culture will not build community. Grievance culture cannot build community. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. So my thought here is, what if one of the biggest weaknesses in our current culture is that we've learned how to critique religion without learning how to build what comes after? Everybody still needs a place to go. I love that. The unfiltered truth is that grievance is a terrible foundation for an ecosystem. Okay. A lot of spaces have become very good at critique. I'm good at critique. I like to do critique. We've become very good at reaction, even very good at fundraising around outrage. But we've become very weak at actually building community infrastructure that can hold people once deconstruction dust settles. Okay. And so, like, even me, with the way I presented it, I've had to change the language a little bit, because y'all have heard me. We're building community. We're building community. Now I've had to make it a little more explicit. We are building the social infrastructure that is required for community. Community doesn't exist just because we want it. There has to be infrastructure that can support it. So I want us to make some distinguishing between a few things, and y'all feel free to talk at me. I'm gonna be watching this chat. Y'all feel free to talk at me, but I want to make some distinctions here so that we can kind of get a clear framework to operate by. Let's determine the difference between critique, recovery, and reconstruction. Okay, we start with critique. I love that. I'm quite resentful of what religion did to me, stole my youth. Yes, I love your focus on building something better after religion, not just harping on how bad religion is. I appreciate you for catching that. Thank you, because that really is the goal for me. It's not to. My goal is not to get us stuck, and that's why I say grievance culture cannot build community, because it's not conducive for community. All right, so. Starting with critique, I almost snatched my headphones out. Starting with critique is necessary, okay? Religion needs critique. Critique is absolutely necessary. I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion saying that we shouldn't critique religion. I'm saying that cannot be the finish line. Critiquing, a lot of times people say things like, well, it's just constructive criticism. It's not constructive criticism unless it's building something. If your criticism isn't building, it's not constructive. It's still just a complaint by any other name. So critique is necessary, absolutely. But then we also have to focus on recovery, which major shout out to Recovering from Religion, because that's one of their major focuses, is recovery. And it's necessary. Just like critique is necessary. Recovery is necessary, because people leaving harmful systems need support. My concern, though, sometimes is that sometimes the support that we give actually kind of stalls them. No, because the support shouldn't just focus on where I was. Support should move me to where I can be. Anything that is keeping me focused on where I was is more of an anchor than a support system. It's keeping me stuck somewhere. It's not moving me somewhere. So even when we're supporting each other, supporting is not always just being a place to vent. Supporting is being a place to reorient. There we go. There we go. Jalapeno. Was that worth a habanero right there? No, support is not just something that helps me vent. Support should help me reorient. Okay. And then that third one is reconstruction. Okay. And this is the one that often gets neglected. I remember, I think it was Brady Goodwin one time asked me, Ichabod, he said, do you see yourself in the counter apologetic space, or do you see yourself in the deconstruction space? And I told him, I said, neither really. I don't, I know my work is helpful for people deconstructing, but if you'll notice, my work has a reconstructive bent towards it. Man, that's good. Otherwise, the religion becomes the anti-religion. The problem is that the presupposition is built into the language, culture, and law. I like. So the reconstruction is the part that's often neglected. Um, After we've critiqued religion, after we start helping people just kind of recover, what does the reconstruction period look like? The big point is people need new ways to belong, gather, celebrate, grieve, grow, and contribute. Otherwise, they're going to be isolated from society. Like, that's the reality. If we know we live in a society where the majority of our events are interwoven with a lot of faith language, with a lot of religious coded programming. Like, hell, you can't go to the Super Bowl without hearing God bless America or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So if we know that we live in a society that judges people so harshly by what they believe about or by what they don't believe, then the reconstruction aspect, we have a responsibility to create spaces where people are not immediately, watch this, immediately isolated from life by waking up. Waking up shouldn't isolate me from life. When I wake up, there should be a party going on somewhere that I can join. And that was my concern 10 years ago, or now I guess it's 11 years ago. But when I deconverted in 2014, damn, it's longer than that now. When I deconverted in 2014, the mindset was, Darante, why didn't you immediately start doing what you're doing now? And the reality, I didn't start doing what I do now because my concern is not just to be heard, but to be helpful. All right. It's not just to point out the harm, it's to actually be a part of the help. And at that time, I knew that I was in no position to help anybody because I was still unpacking where I was. But I knew that if we were ever going to be out here, like as a clarion call saying, hey, this is what's wrong with religion, this is why religion is harmful, and this is tearing your life apart, then on the flip side of that, we needed to be providing an alternative. That's where the reconstruction comes in. And it's not just an alternative to religion. That's not what we're talking about. That's pedantic. That's shallow. That's child's play. We're talking about an alternative to the life that I had in religion, not an alternative to religion. All right. Is this good? Like, I don't think we need an alternative to religion. I think we need religion to evolve. Right. We didn't need an alternative to science when science was still trapped in alchemy. We needed science to evolve. We didn't need an alternative to science when science was still trapped into the four humors, We needed science to evolve. The biggest problem with religion is that religion has not evolved. And the problem is, and we're operating it, oh, this is good. And we're fighting against it from a non-evolutionary standpoint. Okay. I hope this is helping somebody. All right. So my argument is that our culture has often overdeveloped critique and underdeveloped reconstruction, and also have gotten to this place. And I know if you're paying attention, you can see it yourself, where we've confused recurring outrage with community formation. We've done well answering religion at the level of argument, but not at the level of human need. And that's where I kind of draw the line of demarcation in my work. My work is not just to say, hey, religion is wrong. It's not just to say, hey, religion is not logically supported. No, it's to say, hey, like religion doesn't help us live better. And so because that's my primary concern, I don't want to spend all of my time in religion. I want to spend my time living. I want to spend my time not just showing us, or not just exploring what is harming us, but also discovering and experimenting with what is helping us. And if the secular community is not doing that, then the only community that is religious. We make the mistake of thinking that people only go to church to believe, when the reality is people go to church to grow. People go to church to learn. And so my question is, for the secular community, holla if you hear me, where do we go to grow? Where do we go to learn? We cannot make everything we do about them. That's toxicity. At some point, our motivations, our behavior has to be about us. Okay? I told you this. I was at a conference last year that they invited me back. This year, I declined. But I was at a conference last year. And one of the things that just kind of didn't sit well with me is that, like, all of the conversations, and I'm talking about like after in between sessions, that I don't want to say all, but the majority of the conversations were just about Christians. And I'm like, but they not here. This is our opportunity to be together. This is our opportunity to just be living freely. And the thing we want to talk about right now is Christians. As a sociologist, that's a red flag to me. That's a major red flag. I'm like, man, we got all of these content creators in here whose channels are doing well, me one of them. Why aren't we giving out content creator tips right now? Why aren't we talking about what's working for you and what's working for me? We have people in our community who have been impacted by job loss. Why aren't we using this as a networking opportunity? Yeah, between the sessions, let me know where you work at. What job are you looking for? What special skills do you have? Why are we more interested in the people who we don't like than the people that we do like? You can be at a whole convention and never learn anything about the person that you're there with. You don't learn their skills. You don't learn their gifts. You don't learn their passions, because we're gathering around our grievances. Okay. And that's why my work is a little different. It's in the same vein. I just want a different outcome. My work is not to make Christians feel bad. My work is to help people do better. But narrow. Let me say it one more time. My work is not to make Christians feel bad. My work is to help people do better. All right. Okay. So let me define grievance culture before we move too far. All right. And I yanked this from Google. You could do the same thing. I don't want to be anybody's source of truth. I'm just a point of reference. So if you don't believe me, go look it up. And if you find something different, hey, good for you. So grievance culture, according to Google, grievance culture is a societal phenomenon where individuals and groups fixate on perceived slights, injustices, and victimhood, often amplifying anger and resentment over positive engagement. It is marked by a blame game mentality, political polarization, and digital echo chambers that reward outrage, frequently leading to a collective sense of being forgotten or replaced. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now why is this? I love that, Brittany. Why is this? This is so good. Okay, we fixate on perceived slights, injustice, and victimhood. One thing I tell my children is that anybody who is trying to convince you that you're a victim is not trying to help you. And this is anybody trying to convince you that you're a victim is not trying to help you. If they're trying to get you to focus on your victimhood, then they're not trying to show you how you can be a victor. And so what we end up doing, we amplify the anger and the resentment while positive engagement gets nothing. Man, I love this. Thank you, Ariel. We need to define what we stand for rather than what we don't stand for. We need to, man, I got to scroll up. Let me come to my other computer. Forgive me. We need to define how we live our lives now rather than criticizing how we live. Can't change the past, can change the future. Exactly. See, I'm amazed at how many people make a fetish out of Jesus's victimhood on the cross and identity with that, rather than, I don't know, the whole conquering death thing. Victim culture, like, yes, it's and it's like, it doesn't. Like at the end of the day, I like to use this term workability or sometimes utility. The question ends up being like, how does this help? Okay. Um, like people say, well, Harriet Tubman freed a certain amount of slaves. No, Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves. Harriet Tubman shared the message that you're not a slave. And the only way you're going to get out of this condition is to stop acting like one and get the hell up out of here. So you don't free slaves. You tell people they're not slaves. You remind them of who they really are. I'm preaching better than y'all are responding right now. So they're like, so when your focus is victimhood, you're not raising partners. You know, like I used to tell people, I started saying this when I was at the end of pastor. I'm like, hey, I will get in the ring and fight with you, but I will not fight for you. Y'all ain't ready. This is strong. Yes. Oh, snap. Let me get over here to my chat. I gotta see. Yes, sir. Gospel progression. The focus should be less on fighting against instead of fighting to. Come on now. Yes. Fighting. What are you fighting for? You know. And that's where my work lives. You know. That's where my work lives. What are we fighting for? So let me give you a few key aspects of grievance culture. Number one, anytime I see the victimhood narrative, I know where we're at. This is grievance culture. You know, a persistent focus on how one has been wronged, which can become central to personal or group identity. And you remember, I've shared this story before. This comes from a personal place for me. I was in a place where I realized the only way I could change my life was stop blaming other people. It wasn't that those people weren't at fault. It's just that I can't do shit with your faults. I can't do anything with blame. It's of no utility to me. You know, when after the oh man, yes, after the last election cycle, I was telling them like, no, it's very clear to me why you losing. You're doing way too much time preoccupied saying they're the bad guys instead of making yourself the good guys. That requires work. So blame and fault, that doesn't do anything for you. There's nothing wrong with identifying that it was somebody else's fault, but just know that's the end of the train. That's the only power you have in that. Everything else is up to them at that moment, which means you've taken the power out of your hands and put it in theirs. So when I was in a situation that was absolutely somebody else's fault, they were absolutely to blame. It was their fault. I had to accept that it was my responsibility to do something about it. I love it. More focused on fighting to obtain. Absolutely. You know, no, it's like, no, it can be their fault, but their fault doesn't do anything for me. The most powerful thing I can ever learn is that I'm the problem. Because if I'm the problem, then I'm capable of being the solution. And in the situation that I was in, what the problem wasn't that they were doing it to me. The problem was that I was allowing it. I can't do anything about their fault. I can do something about my responsibility. I hope that's helping somebody. So that victimhood narrative, you know, but then there's the digital amplification. Social media algorithms prioritize engagement, which often reward anger and foster polarized echo chambers. This is something I am constantly checking myself on. When a piece of news or a piece of information floats past my face, what is this trying to get out of me? What is the purpose of this information? Is this information giving me any actionable intel? Oh, y'all ain't ready. I think I'm in coach mode today. It must be because of the jacket. I had a vest on before this, but I don't put on the jacket. So now I'm in coach mode. No, what actionable intel, what actionable insight am I getting from this information? And if I'm not getting any actionable insight from this information, then the whole purpose of this information is to get an emotional response from me. It's to get an emotional reaction from me. It's to trigger me so that I amplify the message, whether it's wrong or right. And again, I saw this when your current president posted a picture of a former president with very racial imagery, and like almost the whole secular community just like went, I can't call it anything else but stupid. Like the whole secular community went stupid for a moment and start fucking sharing it. And I'm like, wow, I'm sorry. I mean, I can't lie. That one pissed me off. And I'm not just saying it was white folks, it was black folks sharing it too. And I'm like, bruh, like, are you not human anymore? Are you so caught up in your outrage that you don't care who you hurt anymore? You're disconnected from what you're doing. No, if someone shared a picture like that of me and my wife, I wouldn't want my friends sharing it around, talking, no, we're defending him by sharing this picture. No, you are stupid, gone deceived. You know? Yes, Mike, when we go into victim mode, we stoop to their level. And if we are saying that their level is problematic, why the hell would we repeat the problem? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. If we're going to use their modality, we're going to get their results. Okay, which is what we're getting. Even in our own community. Like the secular community is too small to be this splintered. You know, it's too small to be this splintered. That don't make no damn sense. That don't make no sense. You know? And then this leads us into the politics of resentment, which I'm going to share a little bit more about later on in the conversation. But political movements often use this culture to mobilize support by focusing on grievance against either elites, institutions, or out groups instead of focusing on policy goals. I can't remember the last time this country actually had an election cycle that was around policy and not personalities. I can't remember it. Maybe you can help me. I can't even remember it. Even when the person I wanted to win won, they didn't win on policy. And that has been a concern for me in this country for a very long time. Ooh, man. I'm glad this is helpful, y'all. I'm still learning how to let myself be myself. Oh, yes. After years of purity culture punishing me for expressing too many opinions, I was mad about it for years, but that didn't help me build those skills. This is why I love our community, because when you start having conversations like that, it allows people to live in their own autonomy, their own agency, their own authenticity. I don't know if you've noticed, but I try my damnedest to create a space where I'm not telling you what to do, telling you what to believe, telling you how to be, or telling you how to think. I'm simply trying to create a point of reference that says we should all be in a place where we should be able to let each other live their experience. As a matter of fact, it's in my best interest to let you live your experience, because I'm probably not going to live it the way that you're going to live it. So I'm getting a limited data set from my own life. But so the only way I can get a more robust data set and therefore more thorough insight of the world around me is that there has to be other people who are audaciously living it differently. That's not in my notes. That came straight from the dome. Habanera. You know what I'm saying? The zero sum mindset, which is the belief that someone else's gain is automatically one's own loss, fueling hostility and resentment, you know? Mm-mm. And so, and I just wanted to highlight, there we go. I like them peppers. I wanted to highlight the politics of resentment as well, because the politics of resentment describes strategies that convert perceived injustice into collective claims that reorder party systems when globalization, demographic change, or state restructuring unsettles expectations, then channels that toward a concrete outgroup or an elite. Okay. So the leftists are arguing against the billionaires and the conservatives are arguing against the trans. It's the same exact methodology. It's the same framework. It's the same tool. So it's problematic, you know. Research number one is shortcut thinking. When someone tells me it's the elites doing this, or it's the trans doing this, or it's anything else doing this, my first question, and if I could tell you anything, put this one in your toolbook. Put this one in your toolbook. My first question is, how the hell do you know? What gives you special insight into this? Because most people who have opinions about things aren't close enough to actually quantify an opinion. Like, you don't qualify to have an opinion. I'm sorry. No, you don't. Like there's several things that I don't qualify to have an opinion about. Welcome to the new world, right? So the big point is that people will use, like, the politics of resentment is literally a system that we can identify sociologically, where there are people who are taking advantage of what you hate and using it for their good, while still nothing is happening for your good. And again, I did a video on this maybe a year and a half ago on leapfrogging. All right. So grievance culture shifts societal focus towards assigning blame rather than solving problems. You know, come on now. Come on now. We're assigning blame. We're not solving problems. I got to lean in so I can read this comment. Y'all know I got old people eyes. Did I figure out if I can biggie size this on my screen? Let me biggie size. Heck yeah. There we go. Maybe went a little too far. I'm sorry. Y'all can't see it, but I can. But on these lives, on the Wednesday lives, I like to interact with our comments a lot more than I do for Sundays. Sundays I be on the flow, so it is what it is. Ain't nothing like when your indoctrinated instincts jump out. Come on now. Yes. Man. Yeah, that's it. It's the background. It's sociology. I grew up in the Black church, but I did the majority of my work in mixed churches, and then once I got my degree, I was out of there. It was like, oh, well, I see what this is. And it was because it was answers to questions that I'd always really wanted the answers to. And once I had the answers, I no longer needed the bullshit. And at that moment, like, I wanted to be a better me, and I want to do a better job of what I was doing before. All right. So my core premise in this conversation, and it's so great that y'all are enjoying this today. Grievance can gather a crowd, but it cannot build a civilization. Grievance culture can grow an audience, but it rarely grows durable community. And I think that's one of the reasons it's very attractive, is because people are using rage bait to grow their audiences. Now, if you'll notice, the moment I realized that my channel was attracting more people who just wanted to just kind of rage out, I pivoted. I started making it very clear, like, that's not who I am. This is why I started separating myself from other things in the secular community. And it's not because I don't think those things have value. It's just because I value the work that I'm doing so much that I don't want to muddy the waters. My team will tell you at one point, like, this is why I shut down my Discord. Like, I shut my Discord down because it was only attracting people who were like just wanting to say, hey, what can I use against Christians? And I'm like, you're conflating what other content creators do with what I do. I am not a content creator. I'm a community developer who just so happens to make content. All right. Content is the doorway for me to introduce people to the idea of community. Oh, yes. That's right. Oh, that's such a good point. Bernays, and I hope I'm not saying your name wrong, but Bernays said it's amazing to realize people don't usually become religious to harm people. They just want meaning, belonging, and power. You know? And you're absolutely right, Gospel Progressions University. It's because the platform incentivizes rage. Show me the incentive structure. There you go. And I'll show you how people behave. You are absolutely right. And so, and in many ways, we're becoming slaves to that system instead of creating new incentives. Man, I love that. And so grievance culture is rarely gonna grow a durable community. Grievance culture creates fight club, fight night, you know? All right. So, and of course, like, just the reality is, here's something. If you're after sustainable impact, crowds are not the way to go. This is why I'm not impressed by the crowds. Other people were like, oh man, your channel's growing. That don't mean very much to me. We live in a consumption-based society. All that means is that people like me right now. And the version, I don't know who those people are that like me. So I don't know if these are the type of people who like me for a minute or will like me for a lifetime. I don't even know what it is that they like about me. So the crowds to me are not very impressive. Views are not relationships. Donations are not ecosystems. Events are not institutions. And followers are not families. You know what I'm saying? And so the reality is when we build things around, that's right, community is greater than crowds. When we build things around the crowd, and when we build things around grievance culture, we create echo chambers. And echo chambers repeat sound, but ecosystems reproduce life. Okay. I think one of the saddest things, because I live my experience, I've been to quite a few secular events since I've come out. And just one of the things that really broke my heart is the amount of people within the community not doing well in life. It's the amount of people in the community like literally struggling, struggling. And not only are they not doing the damn thing about it as individuals, the community is continually charging for events. We're continually creating things for you to come to, but the things that we're creating for you to come to have nothing to do with helping you get better. Now, if we know that religion broke so much, where are the people who are here to fix it? What good does it do to know that something was broken if there's nobody here to fix it? So it seems like the biggest flex of many in the secular community is not let's fix the problem. The flex is I know what's broken. I know why it's broken. That's broken. That's broken. But what's the fix? Okay. So it's not that I'm not saying critique is unnecessary, not at all. I'm really good at it. It's that critique alone is incomplete. If a movement can raise money for decades, attract millions of views, platform endless arguments, and still fail to build enduring community systems, then something deeper is wrong. Something deeper is wrong. And honestly, almost every time I've tried to bring this conversation up in secular spaces, it's like, well, Christians had a head start. Well, Christianity had a head start. Well, they just been doing this longer than us. What? So are you telling me you're losing on purpose? Is that what I'm hearing? Like, no. Listen, there's no such thing as Christianity had a head start. Churches are separate from Christianity. Churches and Christianity don't exist together. There are churches that started 20 years ago that have done more in their 20 years than the secular community has done in a century. And it's because it's because if any excuse is acceptable, any excuse will do. Whew. So the future of non-belief cannot be built on reaction alone. It has to be built on relationship. It has to be built on rhythm. And most importantly, it has to be built on responsibility. The continuity of institutions across generations is a myth. Man, those are absolute bars. Ooh, man. Not Darante, man. Because I was stuck there in church. I didn't want to be stuck there in church and then get out of church and then be stuck here in the atheist community. Like, no. I told my wife after attending 2 events, I was like, ooh, I see a lot of organizations in this community operate like old churches. And like old churches, they failed for a reason. That they become legacy institutions that represent an outdated system, that represent an outdated ideology, and become an ecosystem of it, and become an echo chamber of its own, where progress only looks like it. Oh yeah, we go there. Okay, so let's kind of define the difference between an echo chamber and an ecosystem. Thank you. Oh, I like that. Ancient countries had a head start over Christianities, and yet Christians have made headway. Yes. Oh, man. That's right. That grievance culture and building an echo chamber is unhealthy as well. And so let's kind of like define what an echo chamber is. An echo chamber is a closed, self-reinforcing environment that amplifies pre-existing beliefs while ignoring opposing views, causing polarization. Conversely, an ecosystem is dynamic and diverse, connecting various perspectives, technologies, or people to create a broader shared environment with room for change and innovation. If there is diversity of race without diversity of thought, what you have is assimilation and not integration. I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna say it one more time for the people in the back. If you have diversity of race, but you do not have diversity of thought, you do not have integration, you have assimilation. Because what that says is, like, there's no way that we have this entirely different lived experience, and yet I just think about everything the same way you think about it. That's assimilation. I had to become you to belong. Ooh, I have to think like you to belong. I have to agree with everything you say to belong. I have to handle things the way you handle them to belong. That, my friends, is an echo chamber. Okay? That's an echo chamber. Ecosystems should lead to diversity, not just in visible representation, but diversity in thought, diversity in values, diversity in culture. And right now I could be wrong. And if I am, I'm willing to let you say that I am. But I could be wrong. But right now, I actually think Bridge City, and we only 2 years old. We're only 2 years old. Bridge City, I think, I could be wrong, but I think Bridge City is actually the most diverse of all the secular institutions that we have right now. And we just 2 years old. And we didn't necessarily like put out a banner and just say, hey, everybody that's different, come here. We trying to be really, really diverse. We just tried to be here for people, period, without looking for reasons to disown or like, oh, you're not one of us. Like, no. Oh my goodness. What you say, like, the US has long been an echo chamber. It really has, man. Like, I started catching on to that as a child. I was like, man, maybe 90% of what I believed about America was propaganda. What was bullshit, you know? But even if you think, America tends to force a false binary. You're either conservative or you're liberal, progressive, however you want to say it. You're either Democrat or you're Republican. You're either black or you're white. Forget all of the indigenous people and the Hispanic people and the Asian people who live here. No, it's just white or black. You're either a man or you're a woman. You're either an adult or you're a child. It's all of these false binaries. And that's why there was such a hard attack on the trans movement, is because it destroys the propaganda of these false binaries. But even the idea of good versus evil is a false binary. Man. Yes. Oh my goodness. You are not wrong. You are not wrong, Captain. So an echo chamber gives you more of your own voice. An ecosystem gives you more life than your own. There was someone last year that tried to accuse Bridge City of being an echo chamber, and I was like, damn, we barely exist yet. And so when someone asked me, I said, well, how do you respond to that when someone makes an accusation? I'm like, well, most times I don't respond to accusations. Like, if they're baseless, why would I respond to a baseless accusation? And it was like, but don't you want people to know that it's not an echo chamber? I'm like, no, the people who are part of it know that it's not an echo chamber. You know? And I was like, but what if it is? I said, well, I'd ask this one question. What's that? What's the echo? Huh? Oh, no. If Bridge City is an echo chamber, what's the echo? We're not. We're an ecosystem. We don't have any purity tests. Man. Oh, like, okay, see, now you're getting under my skin because that's a hot topic for me, and that's one I've been railing on for a long time, but you're fucking right. Democrats have long been sabotaging third-party candidates to force this false binary. It's like, oh no, well, you got to vote for the lesser of it's like, bruh, I'm out of here. Like, and this is why your country is in the condition that it's in. Your country is in the condition that it's in because you're treating people who are obviously idiots as if they're intelligent. And that's the problem. I don't think there have been smart people in Congress for a very long time. That's just me. That's just me. But I mean, see what's happening. These people are playing in your face, man. Like, no. People who are dependent, like I consider government just as big as an illusion as God. And I'll leave it alone for a moment. But what you have in an ecosystem, you should have diversity of function. You should have mutual dependence. There should be care structures. What are the structures of care? Why does money in the secular community only go upward, never outward? Why does the money in the secular community go to support our institutions, but none of our institutions exist to support people? That is a problem. That's the reason Christianity is ahead of us. It's not because they had a head start. It's because they actually have an obligation to be accountable to their people. And at this moment, the secular community doesn't have that obligation. At this moment, organizations in the secular community do not have an obligation to be accountable to their funds that are coming in as it pertains to the people who are part of the secular community. So now all of our funds are for events and lawsuit. But if you lose your job, if you have nowhere to take your kids, if your kids are getting kicked out and they have to go through some Christian rehabilitation program, we have nothing for you because we're too busy fighting the fight of grievances while not building community. I walk into them like, no, why is everybody in here struggling? And if we know that everybody in here is struggling, then why do we not have a community obligation to build a stronger economic floor for these people? And I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I'm talking about this from someone who's been in Black nationalist advocacy. Like one of the biggest reasons why the Black community stays stalled for as long as it has is because we keep getting caught up in grievance culture instead of building a fucking economic foundation. And in the moment Dr. King switched his language to that, building an economic floor, he got killed. He got silenced. But the propaganda is the civil rights movement worked, so we should do that. How did it work? That's the propaganda. You get to kill the leader and then say it worked while nothing changes. Actually, I can't even say nothing changes. If you want to take a look at this from a statistical point of view, the Black community has gotten worse and worse and worse since the 60s, not better. We have lost more of the gains that we had. We've lost them. We have lost them because America and these fucking fake ass politics keep telling you that we won while you're living in failure. How are you going to let somebody convince you that you won when you're living with the loss? You know, like, nah, bruh. It's grievance culture. I've told people several times, like this, and this I've made this statement to my community over and over again. Anybody that's waiting on the people who broke you to fix you is a victim. You've already put yourself beyond help, bruh. If you're waiting for the people who broke you to fix you, you've already lost your sense of value in yourself. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say some stuff that's gonna make people mad at me. It's gonna make people mad at me. Whew, I'm sorry. So right now, what we're creating in our culture is debate addiction, outrage monetization, personality-centric platforms, lack of local infrastructure, shallow social replacement for church, little investment in family life, ritual life, care life, elder or youth continuity. You know, the real critique is that much of our culture has been organized around opposition rather than construction. We've spent years teaching people how to leave bad systems, but we've spent a lot less time teaching them how to build better ones. And that's where the work is. If we're sitting back waiting for the people that we're calling corrupt to uncorrupt themselves, we are not operating in logic. You know, no, you're waiting for the people that you view as corrupt to uncorrupt themselves to make your life better. How is that any different than religion? How is that any different than the relationship that a Christian has with its God? You're waiting for the God who made you sinful to fix you. Huh? Po ting ting. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get up. Get up from there. Get up from there. It's going to be hard, but you're going to have to get up from there. Your feet are going to be tired, but you're going to have to get up from there. You're going to have to walk this walk. You're going to have to work this work. And if you expect anything to change, you're going to have to be a part of the change. That's the reality. That's the stuff that's hidden behind the propaganda, that there is nobody coming to save you, and there's nobody even thinking about saving you. They don't know you. That's the illusion. Every politician is in it for themselves. Every single one of them. Because that's where the incentive structure lies. The incentive structure lies in protecting their career. Whew. That's right. Real patriots ask questions. Okay, so obviously we know that grievance is easier to monetize than community. It's much easier to build an audience around what we're against, who embarrassed themselves, what religion got wrong, what outrageous things some pastors said, and what law Christians are trying to pass. But one of the biggest problems is that after a while, grievance becomes gossip because it's no longer even your grievances anymore. You're now going out looking for grievances that you're not even connected to just so you can have something to talk about, which now makes you disingenuous and dishonest because you're not qualified to talk about it if you're not experiencing it and if you don't have the inner, like the inner road talk to this. And so now you're like Don Quixote out here fighting, chasing windmills. Like a personal pet peeve, it grinds my gears every time the secular community gravitates towards a soundbite about something happening in a church. Did y'all see what this pastor did? Bruh, those are grown folks in there. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? This pastor asked them people for money. Yeah. And they have the obligation, they can say no. Is that really the hill you want to fight right now? Out of every fucking thing that's going on? I'm sorry. You know, when they aren't even there, it's like, what are we doing? You know, so the content performs. That content performs. It's easy to clip, it's easy to title, and it's easy to rally around. You know, some of my best performing content is stuff that just hits right at what people want. You know, and I could lean into that. I could have stayed in that environment, but the problem is that doesn't build community. And if it doesn't build community, what is it actually building then? It's just building an environment where we just know how to be professionally mad. And so now there are people out there who are just professionally angry. And all you got to do is point them towards somebody to be angry at. And it's like, why do you have so many fucking opinions about somebody else's life? Get off your fucking high horse, Matt Dillahunty. Sorry. Not sorry. You know, ecosystems require slower work. You actually have to build trust. You can't assume it. You have to build it. All right? You need rituals and rhythm. You need leadership development. When I look at any organization, I'm coming in and saying, so how do people become leaders here? What are the pathways to leadership? If there are no pathways to leadership in an organization, then that organization has no intention of doing anything to build. It's a glorified personality cult at that moment. What are the care structures? How do we show up for people when they're in need? What does conflict management looks like? Does it just look like calling people's names when they don't do what you want them to do, even though they don't fucking know you? Oh no, I'm taking it there. Taking it there. Does every gathering have a paywall? You know, that work is less sexy, it's less viral, it's less instantly rewarding. So the movements drift toward performance instead of infrastructure. Shared irritation is not shared vision. Many people can unite around disliking religion. That doesn't mean they know how to live together. You know, a functioning ecosystem needs answers to questions like, what are we building? What values govern us? How do we handle conflict? What holds us together besides our disbelief? How do people grow here? What do families do here? I think that was one of the biggest problems that I had, like when I was really active with things. No matter how many times I tell people, like, "Hey, listen, I have 4 kids, two of which are in high school." You know what I'm saying? And so my life is really busy, and people just kind of treat that like a sidestep. And I'm like, "Oh, you're so used to dealing with people who just want to troll Christians that you're not used to dealing with adults who have real lives and real priorities." A lot of spaces stop at what we don't believe, but ecosystems answer the question of how do we live now? Where do we go from here? Grievance can absolutely ignite a movement, but if you build everything around grievance, eventually the movement starts feeding its own outrage. The movement starts feeding its own outrage. I'm so used to being outraged about something. I have to go find something else to be outraged about, even if the thing that I'm finding to be outraged about has absolutely nothing to do with me. It's just who I am now. I'm mad, you know? Being united by what harmed you is not the same thing as being organized around what heals you. And that's the question that I always kind of go back to. I shared this when we were talking Sunday at MSU. At MSU, is that at one point, like I can go out and I can tell you everything that's wrong with religion. Religion can die overnight. Okay, religion can die overnight. It can disappear overnight, and that will not change anything about who we are and how this world operates and the problems that we have in it. Religion isn't the cause, it's the symptom. It, you know, that's why politics is infected. That's why education is infected. Religion isn't the cause, it's the symptom. You want to know what the cause is? Us, complexity, and our inability to wrestle with it. Come on now. Oh, that's so good. Do a lot of people really not understand the difference between forced compliance and trust-driven compliance? Those are bars right there. Because a lot of people do like that they want to force you to be them. And it's like, I'm good. I like being me. We can build a relationship of trust though, you know? And so again, the problem is not anger. I'm angry. To be Black in America and to be mildly aware of what's going on is to always be in some type of state of anger. It's like being the Hulk. That's my secret. I'm always angry, you know? So I'm not saying that the problem is angry. The problem is when we start building a home out of the anger. Anger can wake you up, but it cannot raise your children. But when so many people in the community don't have children to raise, it's not something that they think about. It can't organize your neighborhood. When so many people in the community have already decided that their neighborhood is a lost cause, it's not something you think about. It can't help you bury your dead. Well, when you've temporarily decided that nobody in your life is important to you anyway, it's not something you think about or celebrate your milestones. But when you've put yourself in a place where everybody in the world is against you, you don't find your milestones worth celebrating. You don't find your life worth holding together. And so I do see a lot of people who tend to drift into this just state of hopelessness and almost like leaving in their mind, their lives won't get better and society won't get better until the bad people stop being bad. And if that's the approach we're going to take, hello, the bad people ain't going to stop being bad. Like if somebody can take your lunch every day and know that there are no consequences, they're going to keep taking your fucking lunch. I would keep taking your lunch. If I walked past you one day, if I was working and I accidentally took your lunch, it was Mississippi State University. If I accidentally took your lunch and you didn't say nothing about it the first day, I might be tempted to take your lunch again. You know what I'm saying? The next day, well, let me go get that lunch again. And then after a while, it's become a pattern. Then you now have an identity marker of this person gives up their lunch. You know? This is why I talk about these things. I don't talk about these things just because I want to be right. I talk about these things because this is what I observe. And I'm like, oh no, that's not going to help. That's not going to help. Hey. So like our focus has been to win, not to relate. You don't win people. You relate to people. They're not yours to win. Okay? Well, Darante, this person thinks something that I think is bad. That's why you don't think it and they do. Like the fact that that's a shock to so many of us, just always, that's the thing that it just absolutely blows my mind. Like, how are you shocked that somebody different than you thinks something different than you? I would think that in the skeptical community, we'd know that, like, nah, nearly everybody thinks something different than everybody else. But in a place where you're trying to create echo chambers, it becomes we have to think the same thing. Whew. I'd start packing 2 lunches if you were so hungry. I love that. Now, again, all of these things has a place. Debates, call-in shows, takedowns, response videos, dunking, it does has a place. But if that becomes the dominant cultural grammar, people start learning suspicion over trust. They start learning cleverness over care, humiliation over healing, and performance over presence. You end up with a population trained to deconstruct bad arguments, but not necessarily trained to build good relationships. As a matter of fact, they start shortcutting relationships using agreement. You heard me talk about this on my channel. Like, I constantly tell people, like, hey, you don't know me. Just because you agree with some things I say on my channel doesn't mean you've done the work to know me. You don't even have that access, you know? And so when you start building these things, we don't even know how to build good relationships. There are people who thought they were in a relationship with me because they knew my name. There are people who thought they were in a relationship with me because we just so happened to be atheists and content creators. And I'm like, if you think on that pedantic level, no wonder relationships in this community are so fragile. They're not built on anything. If the only thing your relationships are built on are identity markers of agreement, you don't actually know how to build relationships. And the danger in that is now we're feeding a culture where people think all of these content creators are their friends, or all of the people who share these ideas on Facebook are their friends, while not building real relationships in real life. And that's contributing to your life falling apart, because you don't have a social structure for you to depend on. You know, whew. Here's a big one. And this is something like I want the secular community to learn this, because I learned this while I was still in church. The church became a trauma bond. I think in many ways, the secular community, that's a risk that we have to understand that we're vulnerable to. We're vulnerable to becoming just trauma bonded relationships. And trauma bonding is not community. A lot of people arrive in this space wounded by religion. That's real and that matters. But when a community is built mostly around unprocessed injury, that culture becomes organized around vigilance, resentment, purity test, chronic suspicion, and identity through opposition. That may feel validating at first, but it doesn't create healthy long-term social environments. It keeps people emotionally parked at the site of the wound. I want to move from the wound to the wisdom. I want to transform my wounds to wisdom. I don't want to stay stuck in my wounds. I want to live out my wisdom. Okay? Religion offered belonging. It offered ritual, rhythm, identity, care, and continuity. We're answering religion intellectually, but we're not answering it socially. Man, from wounds to wisdom. I love it. Yes, people learn that in church as well. The container is church that builds superficial relations based on jobs or volunteerism. But once you leave, the scaffolding is gone with the relationships. Preach, bruh. Yes. All right. So here's the next part. And this is probably what leads me to this conversation. A movement can raise money and still fail institutionally. Because we often assume that if money is flowed, progress must have happened, and not necessarily. And as a matter of fact, like I don't even see us having a conversation around, okay, what has our money done in these communities? You know, like there's one organization, I'm not gonna call them by name, but I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm not owned by anybody, and I'm not bullied by anybody, and I'm not pressured by anybody. So you cross my wrong side, I say what I want to say. But there's one community that's been in existence for roughly 15 years. 15 years. And there is, at this moment, I'm wondering, is your whole job just professional fundraisers? Because it's like in the secular community, we're not holding each other accountable. We're not saying, hold on, what exactly are we doing with the funds that we're raising? How are we actually helping? No, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. No, I'm going to call out the hens. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I was going to say that wrong. I'm going to call out the fox in the hen houses. I'm going to call it out. Look, Because like this is what we have. This is what we have right now. We have personalities, we have platforms, we have conferences, we have brands, we have travel events, we got production value, but we do not have durable local communities. We do not have scalable care systems. We do not have leadership pipelines. We do not have family structures. We don't have educational institutions. We don't have mutual aid networks, nor do we have any form of cultural continuity. So you tell me, how does that happen? How does that happen? The question becomes, and this is the question that any community has to ask, whether you're a political community, a religious community, a secular community, whatever you are, if you're a restaurant, if you're a business, you got to ask the question, where did the money go in terms of ecosystem building? Did we just use the money to build more debt, or did we use the money to build an ecosystem? How many secular people can we hire right now with all of the secular organizations we have? Please understand, this is not an accusation. This is not an accusation. It's a diagnosis. Why has so much energy produced so little durable social architecture? If a movement raises money for decades and still struggles to build meaningful community infrastructure, the problem is not financial, it's cultural. There is a problem in the culture of secularism. Oh, I love that Velvet Bunny. So to drive this point home, grievance culture fails because it narrows imagination, it burns trust, it rewards negativity, it attracts spectators, not builders, which is why, and it's almost like that's what we want. We want spectators, not builders, because builders is more work, and builders means you have to share the credit. And so that's one thing you'll never fail to see me doing. When you watch my content, especially Sunday content, you're never gonna hear me not talk about the people who make this stuff possible. And I want them to do more and more and more, because I'm not here to be your personality guy. I'm not your Negro, and I'm not your hero. I'm not here to do that. I'm doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm doing this because of me. And that's what I want to push people to do. I want to push people to do things because it is who you are. Okay? All right. So I want to give you this quick echo chamber check. Oh, I love it. I love this place. See, this is what good preaching will do. And guess what? No threat of hell needed. No guilt about it being God's money. LOL, just me willing to give to a cause and not the church's electric bill. Oh my goodness, I love that. Let me get over here so I can put that on the screen. Listen, habanero. Bless that in reason's name. Thank you so much, Brittany. I always appreciate super chats. That is beautiful. I love the support. This is how we win, y'all. This is how we win. Okay. All right. Let me get back over here. and got me all excited. All right, so to help us keep from becoming just an anti-church church carbon copy, here's a few things we can check to say, okay, are we being an echo chamber or an ecosystem? All right, personality worship. And honestly, this one has probably been the most uncomfortable part about coming out publicly as an atheist, is what I like to call pantheon grouping. You know what pantheon grouping is? It might be new to you. It's a version of personality worship where people imagine their favorite atheist is like a new pantheon of gods or prophets, kind of like what we did with the four horsemen, all collectively leading the community. And it's like, no, these people, listen, I'm not leading the atheist community. I'm not leading the secular community. I'm leading Bridge City. And even that, I'm just leading the vision. But we end up looking for people to be our leaders. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this personality worship, because what personality worship really is responsibility exchange. So I want a personality that I can worship, so I no longer have to be responsible. The four horsemen are going to handle it for me. The new pantheon of the great atheists are out there, and so you get forced to live in somebody else's imagination. Another side of this is that people then try to force you to fit in the box of their imagination so that you can remain worthy of their worship. And they often make it very clear. And if you've ever looked at me, I am highly, damn near violently averse to that type of approach. I don't allow people to approach me that way. You will not put me on a pedestal. I will kick that motherfucker down. Which you want it, because it's bad for you. Okay, so anyway, you see the personality worship. That's an echo chamber check. Purity dynamics. And this is the one that's, I'm going to call this one out just because to me, it seems to be this one and in-group policing. Purity dynamics and in-group policing. To me, I don't understand how we can be free from religion and then we spend all of our time trying to police other people. Like, what? But purity dynamics, in-group policing, moral superiority, I got the moral high ground. Dependence on charismatic figures, and the lack of actual care infrastructure. So it's like everybody, and the disingenuous thing about that is that means we get to use the language of care without actually creating the systems of care. That's the tricky thing about rage bait culture. Everybody's like, I'm doing this because I care. I'm doing this because I care. And if you cared, you'd be doing it too. No, if you cared, you'd be caring about people. Damn it, that's good. If you cared, you'd be caring about people. You're not doing it because you care. So we've answered the church's lies, but not the church's functions, because we think the lies are the reason for the functions. We think the doctrine is the reason for the community, when the community only exists for the doctrine, not the other way around. It's not the doctrine that leads people to community. It's the community that strengthens the doctrine. All right? The doctrine can't exist without the community. Yes. Churches were not powerful only because of their doctrine. They were powerful because they provided rhythm, social density, leadership ladders, music, childcare, visitation, rites of passages, and volunteer roles. That's not, a personality can't do that for you. No matter how successful I come, no matter how successful I become, I can't create visitation for you. When you're down and out, I can't be the one to show up. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. We should be creating outreach programs like feeding the homeless, helping those who've recently lost their jobs, starting daycares and schools. Absolutely. Daycares for sure, because daycares are a high place of religious indoctrination, because faith-based institutions are incentivized to start daycares. Get in on some of that incentivization. I don't know if I said that word right. Didn't feel like it came out right. It really is. It's about externalizing responsibility. But we need it. When at risk youth get forced or get I don't want to say forced, but I mean it's right. But they get forced to go through programs in order not to have to go to jail. Those programs are 9 times out of 10 faith-based programs. Children who end up being adopted or end up being abandoned by their parents end up being adopted through faith-based systems. You know? And all we're doing, yeah, I know it is forcing, right? And all we're doing is just saying, those guys, like, don't let the bad guys be doing more good than you're doing. That's not smart. That's not smart. So the bad guys are the ones taking care of our kids. The bad guys are the ones taking care of our elders. The bad guys are the ones feeding the homeless. Maybe that's why this system keeps happening this way. It's like, but how are we going to get the money to do that? Well, first you have to get the infrastructure to do that. And even before that, you have to have the intention to do it, which means you have to be willing to admit that, damn it, maybe our intention hasn't actually been to help people. Otherwise, I don't see how we get here after several decades. All right, now. Ooh, turn or burn. It is, isn't it? Volunteer roles, you know. So the big point is we often critique the doctrine while underestimating the actual social engineering. Community ecosystems need belonging beyond agreement. Disagreement shouldn't lead to disconnection. Community ecosystems need shared practices. What do we do together? Not just what do we watch together. What we watch together doesn't make us a community. It needs real hospitality. Boy, hey, secular community, and this is probably the lightest thing I've said. Y'all suck at hospitality, man. Oh my goodness, y'all suck at hospitality. Yikes, like for whatever reason, like making people feel good is above you. You need pathways from audience to participant to builder. Otherwise, it's not an ecosystem. It's a crowd. It's not a community. In order for people to be in a place where they can share responsibility, there needs to be a pathway to sharing responsibility. So the question is, and I'm through. How long have I been going? I've been going, about an hour and 30. I think I was this hyped today because I didn't get to smoke a blunt before this, because I had to record a video right before this. Actually, it's my first like commercially sponsored video. I had a few videos that were sponsored by the AHA, but once they found out that I was not on good terms with one of their favorite atheists who happens to be a toxic influence in the community, they determined not to sponsor me anymore. And I was like, oh, that's fine. But I decided to do a video for my first sponsored one. Was I not supposed to say that out loud? Was I supposed to keep that under the rug? No, I don't owe you that. Dark light is in the room. All right. So do we want to be a people who are known for being right? And then they had the nerve to ask me to show up for a fundraiser. I'm like, bruh, no. Bruh, no. There's a whole conversation I want to have there about people attempting to tokenize me to get access to my audience while not actually valuing my work. You know? Like, not capitulating to shit at all. So the question is, do we want to be a people who are known for being right, or people who are known for building worlds worth living in? The future does not belong to the loudest critics, y'all. It belongs to the people who can actually build, the people who can create places to gather, ways to serve, rhythms to return to, language for grief and joy, and communities strong enough to hold people after the applause ends. Because I'm not going to be clapping for you all the time. Sometimes you're going to do some things that I don't like. Sometimes you're going to do some things that I vehemently disagree with, and I still have to be able to find a way to do life with you. That's what community is. That's the community experiment. Oh, we are too small for that. Yes. I love that. It's like we have to be okay in a community aspect, knowing that everybody's not going to be your cup of tea. Everybody's not going to be who you want them to be. But are we as a community strong enough to hold people even when there's no applause? Are we as a community strong enough to still hold together when I don't like you? And I'm thinking maybe the reason why we're having such a hard problem is because we don't have good families. It's hard to build good communities when you don't have good families. We're so used to people being against us that that's become our natural position to others. But the problem with that is, though, that means you're treating others like a consumable good, like they have to exist for your taste, for your appetite. And that's not community, that's commercialization. When you live in a neighborhood, you don't get to pick who your neighbors are. When you're a part of a community, you don't always get to pick who your teammates are. What we're practicing right now is commercialism, not community. Community requires us to actually value the people who are sharing this space with us because they share this space with us. All right? That's what makes a neighborhood healthy. That's the difference between a neighborhood and a hood. The neighborhood values the neighbors. The hood just values my piece in it. Okay? If we're going to learn how to do life together, I have to learn how to value you because you're here, not because you agree. Because most times your agreement don't mean shit for me anyway. It don't do nothing for me. Your agreement on most things with me are absolutely futile. We have to let things that don't matter, we have to stop letting those things get in the way. Y'all, I hope this has been good, y'all. Dark Light says, intentional community is a powerful community. Haphazard community built on submission is a weak community. Yes. That's it. And I think we have to be intentional. It can't be accidental. That means we have to show up through the conflict. We have to show up through the tension. We have to show up through the good days and the bad days with a commitment that, you know what, I'm going to value you because you're here. I do not value your ideas. I don't value the way you approach this. I don't value your thoughts on this particular thing. But none of that will keep me from valuing you. That, to me, is a powerful position. And that's the only position in my head that allows us all to continue showing up as equals. And that's the world that I want to live in. All right, so that's all I have for y'all now. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to play some music and I'm going to roll through some of these chats because that's what I like to do after these. I'm going to roll up a blunt first and then roll through some of these chats because that's what I like to do. And then really see what y'all are talking about here because I missed so much of it. But thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Let me pick y'all some music to throw y'all out on. I think we're going to do Party again. We're just going to do the other version. So y'all hang out with your boy for a moment and let's rock to Party as we close out today. Thank y'all for being with me today. Until next time, keep rising and be the bridge. And I'll see you Sunday. Let's get this music started. Now I got to get an overlay. Bam.
When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like what the hell he talking about. About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like what the hell he talking about. A sophisticated gentleman, intelligent and tolerant. I'm bothering your politics and breaking down the college tricks. We out of school, so classes out. Fuck all your pedigree, fuck all your clout. Lift everybody and bring them all out. This is the message we preaching about. This is rising tides and we gon' keep it rising. This is our horizon as we're modernizing. Fuck your harmonizing and apologetics. Fuck your bishops and your fed clerics. Stop the cursing, it's hereditary when you're out. reactionary. No imagination is an adversary. No congratulations, get you past the Perry. This is how you stand up, this is how you carry. This is how you lay it, and it's how you bury. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town. About to bring them all out, call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like what the hell he talking about. About to bring them all out, call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like what the hell he talking about. Yeah.